Hello, everyone. Welcome to the CLA podcast. I'm Ulysses, and I am here with
Andy Shen.
our beloved Speaker of the House today, and we are going to do an interview with him. So, first, what is the difference between CLA and previously known as JSA? Like, what's the difference between those two?
I would say the big difference is there's more of a focus on I would say like the way that we do things in CLA is very different as opposed to JSA. I would say like in JSA there's a lot more red tape, being that the organization was running for 90 years, and we just had traditions of how we would do things. In CLA we can focus more on, as we call ourselves, we're a grassroots civic organization, so we can focus on doing things in a different way, like reaching out to people. And for example, when we're here in Austin right now filming this, we could reach out to chapters directly in Austin and get them to come to the convention even on short notice, as opposed to JSA where all the red tape of registering and all that takes a really long time, and there are pretty set deadlines.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, we are hosting Fall State at the Austin, Texas State Capitol, which is really cool and really fun, and I encourage everyone to join CLA. So, what's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge that you faced from transitioning from JSA to CLA right now?
I think the biggest challenge, I feel like it's more so just retaining members. Mostly because JSA was, to me at least, really special. But if you're I would say a freshman or a sophomore who is you want to try all the new things that your school and your community have to offer, you are starting to put in time into things that you value. And if you're not so invested in JSA and then it just dies, then you're oh, well, what do I do now? And you're okay, I can either join or put more of my time into something else, which is, it's a fair choice, right? You can put something else, your time into something else. But I would say, the biggest challenge is just trying to get members to come back. And I would say we've done a fairly good job of that.
Yeah. So, what are some tasks you do as Speaker of the House for the Texas CLA?
Yeah, so my main job is first and foremost that run the House representatives. The House is made up of all the chapter presidents, we call them CPs, in the Texas state. We have about 20. And then about once a month or twice a month, we'll meet and we'll pass bills that the Senate passes. Or, for example, a couple weeks ago, we ratified the state constitution. Secondarily, my tasks are just to help out with whatever Fife and Emerald, who are the governor and LTG, really need me to do. I sit in on cabinet meetings. We have meetings every week on Sundays. But yeah, I'm mainly just someone who handles everything that they need me to do and runs the House.
And our kind of main goal as Civic Leaders America is to get, especially the youth, more politically involved, in the U.S. So how would you encourage someone to be more politically involved in high school?
I would say, for me, at least, when I was running for speaker, right, my speech was very much so that it was take a chance. The reason is because a little bit about me. I don't think I'm a very great person at taking initiative. At least not when I was younger. For example, all the things that I really love and do now in high school, which are robotics, chess, all those things. My mom forced me to do them, and then I started really liking it, and then I got into it. JSA was a little different. When it first started out, I was in debate. So one of my friends, Varun, who was last year's LTG, he recruited me. I think the main thing is just that you will have bad experiences in a political space, no matter who you are or what you do, because people are just going to straight up disagree with you, and not everyone is really nice. So it's it sucks, right? But the main thing is that you take chances initially, and even when those experiences are not so great, you have to remember that that's politics and life in general. And as long as you continue to keep taking chances, you will find your place in this space.
And would you say CLA is more as kind of a safe space for youth to discuss their political opinions?
I would say so. I think the reason is because, for example, when we propagate things on social media, right, and we kind of cherry pick items to create cool or like what we call Sigma edits, on the internet.
Gen Z.
Yeah, we're trying to appeal to people and like get them to vote and stuff. That's good. That's fine, right? But the thing is, it polarizes people way more. Like for example, in government, right? My teacher, Mr. D'Onofrio, is always telling us how like our basically our like voters are so much more polarized because like we continue to challenge this narrative and then like keep propagating on social media, keep using these tactics to spread out this information. And not all of it is misinformation, but it causes people to split. So what happens is the election strategy is no longer, hey, my policies are good or bad. It's more so my voters are all divided into separate groups. All I need to do is exercise as much turnout as possible. I think like for CLA in general, the reason why it is so much more safe is because people here genuinely care and genuinely want to know about different points of view. I would say mainly most young people at least have a general consensus on their views. But even if you disagree, unlike some spaces like on social media where information is easily propagated and you'll get people from all different sources, most of the time I would say people here are pretty nice.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. When my first time in joining JSA and now CLA, a lot of the things we do are like debates and thought talks, and I can definitely agree to that. The people here are really understanding and really nice, and even if you do have different opinions about it, you can still rely on kind of like a moderator or just like kind of this space where people are just like genuinely really interested about politics, and that kind of genuine interest really brings us together. So I know that you do speech and debate, and so I want to ask, how does that play a role in you being Speaker of the House in CLA?
Yeah, so I've done speech and debate for 7 years now. I think the main thing is just that like I wouldn't really say it like really helps me in like managing like my tasks, such as like helping 5 Minute Emerald out or running the house. I would say it's generally the most important thing speech and debate has taught me is like just to not really be afraid, as in like not so much of public speaking because like yeah, I was pretty scared of public speaking when I started in 6th grade, but so much so that like in the world of politics where people will judge you for like pretty much everything you say, like there's always going to be someone who disagrees with you. It's just that you take that judgment with a grain of salt, right? Like for every person that disagrees with you, there's probably someone else in the room that does agree with you. And even if they disagree with you and don't really like take it well, it still means that like you've at least put your values out there and you're not afraid to exercise your right to do it. I would say like the most important thing for me is like in voting, I would say a really big issue is that post-election, whatever the results are, we immediately point fingers at each other. And it doesn't even matter if it's like an outcome that most of us expected. It's just like no matter what, we will point fingers at each other. The thing is, voting is individualized, right? Like I vote based on, I can't vote because I'm 17, but if I were to vote, I would vote based on what I believe and what is best for me as an individual. Now, do I have certain groups that I agree and align with? Sure. But at the end of the day, right, if I get older and I'm like paying taxes, I'm a working person, I have a family, those are things that I'm going to take into account when I cast my vote. And ultimately, it is not one group or the other that decides my vote. It is which group works best for me as an individual. I think that Americans really miss that nowadays. It's like, oh, if you're Republican, then you must agree with everything that Republicans do, or vice versa for Democrats. It's not that. We're all individuals making individualized choices for each other and what's best for us, our families, our culture, whatever we agree with.
Yeah, I think this goes to, I saw like a really surprising statistic out there that like most Americans are actually pretty moderate. It's just that like sometimes like the media, they push it to either the extreme right or the extreme left. And just like kind of made me realize that like, hey, like not everyone is like that really extreme on both sides, but they're actually pretty moderate and they're really up for, just a really like nice conversation about like, hey, like what do you believe in? So I thought that was a really cool statistic that I saw. This is kind of getting sidelined here, but I heard that you play chess. So what's your elo and like what's your go-to opening for white and black?
Okay, my elo in high fiving. My elo in On chess.com, it's about 1800.
Nice.
In real life, it's about 1500. As white, I play the English, and as black, I play the Accelerated Dragon.
Nice. In real life, my elo is around 1300, and on chess.com, it's 1600.
My son.
All right. He's also just older than me, so I haven't been playing. I haven't been playing for a while, but my go-to white opening is
Here. Ulysses is my son.
the Scotch game, and for black, it's probably Sicilian. I can probably beat him right now.
That's not
Probably
true.
probably right now.
We'll
Yeah.
play after.
We'll play after. We'll probably place a little small wager on it. But yeah, and finally, just like wrap it all up. What's one piece of advice you can give to someone first time joining CLA?
Honestly, it's on you to do the work. What I mean by that is like there are so many people who have really, really strong opinions. That doesn't mean they change them from time. They don't change them, sorry, from time to time. But what that means is like when you enter a space and you're not really too sure of like what's going on, the people with the strongest opinions in the room are going to often dominate the room, and you're going to feel a little bit like you're out of place. That's okay, because let's say you're a freshman entering CLA right into high school, probably 14 or 15, still a really young age to be understanding of all the things that are out there, right? I would say, like, for me, going through courses like APUSH and AP Government, and then also just like reading like I guess articles online for debate or understanding like my own beliefs through like my religion or anything else. Those things all combine while also talking to people to shape my own views. I would say like the most important thing is that the people in the room who often dominate the space, they were not always those kinds of people. Everyone starts out, everyone, I mean, like everyone doesn't start out with like this premonition of, oh, I know exactly what kind of policies I like and why I like them. No, you have to start out by learning from other people and also doing the work by yourself to really put yourself out there and get involved and do the work to be able to dominate the space yourself in a long-term process. So I would say ultimately the ball is in your court, and as long as you, for example, right, Michael Jordan picks up a ball every day, shoots 1,000 shots, right? As long as you pick up that ball, not 1,000 even, you shoot 10 shots a day, you will slowly build up to the point where you will become that person that is very knowledgeable, and you can be the person to inspire other people to do the same.
Hey, thank you so much. This is Andy Shen, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.